These folks want to count your ballot. Of course, they can only do that if you send it in. And so you can apply for an absentee ballot before next Monday, that's the 15th, and you fill it out, put it in the mail, and I just have to say that's a little bit less than a week from now. So I'll ask Don if he will come to the podium and tell us a little more about the June 23rd primary election. Welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Really proud of Lexington's response so far. I'll throw a few numbers at you. 4 years ago, we voted 60,000 people in person in that primary, and it was a contested primary. This one largely is less contested. We've already got 67,000 ballot requests. So we've turned out heavier this election, and we're not even close to finished. So very proud of Lexington for doing what they need to do. Get your ballot by mail so that we can continue to keep the COVID-19 suppressed in Lexington. We're doing a great job, and we want to keep doing that. So that's the ballots that requested. We've mailed about 56,000 ballots as of last night. Might be 57,000. Still working on them today. Ballot returns, we've only had about 10,000 come in until this morning, and this morning we got a mountain of ballots. So way to go, Lexington. Very proud of you. You're doing exactly what we asked you to do. I'm going to reiterate what the mayor said. Your last day to request the ballot via the portal, which is govotesky.com, is Monday, June the 15th by midnight. You must have it done by then if you want to get it by mail. Otherwise, you're going to have to vote in person. We have two options for voting in person, just to remind us. People in the community with disabilities may call my office and schedule an appointment. We're going to host you out at the Senior Center. It's a really nice facility. It's perfectly suited for folks with challenges, so we want you to be able to vote independently. Contact my office and make your appointment. We'd like to reserve that for our people in our community that have disabilities, please, because there's not a lot of slots available. The other way to vote in person is on Election Day. We're going to open up Commonwealth Stadium, or excuse me, Kroger Field now. We're going to open up Kroger Field on the south side, gates 10 and 11. You can go in either gate, and there will be line management to show you where to go. We'll get you through there. One other option for returning your ballot. I know there are some folks that are uncomfortable with voting by mail. They would prefer to drop it off. So we're going to make that service available also starting on Monday, June the 15th. Also at Kroger Field. Near the southwest corner of the stadium, near Gate 9, there's the President's Pavilion, and we'll have people stationed there to accept your ballot into a box. I think that's all the dates that I need to tell folks, Mayor, so I'll turn it back to you.
All right. Don't forget to
That's twice.
Dawn, thank you so much for doing everything you can to make this election safe for everyone. And the city has really been proud to partner with you on this. And if you look at the numbers Governor Beshear reports every night, it's clear that COVID-19 is still threatening our citizens. And we don't want people to feel threatened as they vote. And so even in a pandemic, it is still extremely important to make your voice heard and to make your vote. So just do it. Mail in your absentee ballot and you'll be done. And you will have done your civic duty. So thank you very much. And Dawn and I will answer any questions that you might have. Okay, I'll let Clerk Blevins describe what's going on exactly behind us.
So under the emergency regulation that is guiding the conduct of this election, as you know, we're going to mostly vote by mail. It provided for the creation of something called a ballot processing committee, and that's what you see behind me. There are 2 Ds, 1 I, and 1 R that form our ballot processing committee here in Fayette County. They're behind me guiding a bunch of election officers who are actually doing the opening, checking of the names, all that sort of thing is going on right behind us as we speak. Once the ballots are open, you'll notice that they're occasionally are tearing off the flap on the inner security envelope. That's so that your ballot becomes anonymous. We have to count over and over again to make sure we have all ballots accounted for. So you'll see them stack and recount. Eventually, we open the inner envelope and remove your ballot. Ballots are then taken on this side of the room and fed into a scanner where they will stay until after the election. On June the 30th, which is the Tuesday following the election, we'll actually do the final count and provide the totals to the state. So I wanted to briefly explain what's going on back here.
That is wonderful, Don. And I caught what you said at the end. So does this mean that the results will not be known until the 30th? That's correct. So they will not be known the night of the election. That's a big change. So just so people don't expect the results that night. The candidates will have to be on edge for another week. What questions do you have?
What would you say, there are members of the community who are concerned that this would make voter fraud easier. What can you do to make them feel confident with this system?
Well, anybody that has Google at their abilities can find numerous studies that show that there's very little voter fraud with mail-in ballots. In fact, it's probably one of the safest methods to vote. We do numerous checks here when your ballot arrives. We check your signature against the signature we have in our database, so that's the first level of check. So as long as, nobody's going to steal a ballot out of your mailbox, vote it, and forge your signature. That's just not going to happen. We all are comfortable in our own homes. It's safe to vote in your own home. We're practicing the best social distance you could possibly do, so it's the way to go.
Well, and if I recall from getting my ballot, you have to have your social security number, your birth date, and verify your signature. So, yes, that's just to get it. So, what other questions do you have?
Right. Great question about how to complete our ballots once we receive them in the mail. So there's going to be, when you receive your ballot package in the mail, there's going to be an outer envelope that you will return to us with postage prepaid, making it very easy. There will be an inner security envelope with a flap. So I need for you to follow, and then there's also a set of instructions. And I need for everyone to follow those instructions very carefully because there are a few things that you can miss that will automatically disqualify your ballot. So the first thing is vote your ballot, put it in the inner envelope, the security envelope. Be sure to seal it. That's a requirement. It's got to be sealed. Sign your signature that you have sealed the inner envelope, the security envelope it's called. Then place the security envelope in the return outer envelope. Seal that. Now sign carefully the outer envelope and you're complete. All those steps are necessary for your ballot to be counted. Great question. Oh, yes. Question is, are we seeing errors? Every election, we have a not insignificant percentage of folks that forget to sign the outer envelope. That's a fairly common mistake. This morning, I was processing, we had probably 7,000 to 10,000 ballots come in this morning, and I was helping sort them. And I would say in the time I was doing it, I probably did 2 or 3, maybe 1,500 votes, and I had probably 10, maybe 20 ballots that were not signed on the outside. That's all we can do out at that facility. The final decisions have to be made here. So I can't tell you what they're seeing here, but we could probably go ask if you like.
Here's the training. They gave the training if you want to show them.
Sure.
What happens to those, Don? Do you have to recontact those people? Or?
No. You get your one. She asked what happens to ballots that are not signed, for example, on the outer envelope. They're set aside. We keep it for 22 months. That's the retention period, but we don't even open them. It's very strict in the statute that you can't do that. So you all were asking earlier, here's what a security envelope looks like. This is before it's sealed. Oh, this is Paula's. And so you place your ballot in here. Once you fill out your ballot, be sure to lick the seal. Seal it. You're going to sign right here. Then you're going to put it in the outer envelope. seal the outer envelope and be sure and sign on the outer envelope. Those are the key steps.
That's great.
What can you tell us about the Cloverfield polling site? I know there were some concerns maybe about a large crowd coming to actually vote by
Right.
inundate the facility. What can you tell us about that?
The question is about the setup of the facility at Kroger Field on Election Day. So I want to reiterate, and thank you for reminding me, we do not want people to use this unless you absolutely need to. There is a small part of our community that needs to vote in person. I totally understand that, and that's why we're having one location for those kind of people. Everyone else should do the right thing and vote by mail so that we keep the COVID crisis under control. Now, for those people who do go to Kroger Field on Election Day, you're going to enter in either Gate 10 or Gate 11. We're going to serpentine the line. We're going to have markings on the floor so that you can maintain social distance. If you've gone to a Home Depot or a Kroger's recently, you've probably seen a very similar setup. We're going to do the exact same type of thing. You'll come in the building, you'll have your ID ready, because we're going to scan your ID. We're going to actually have your signature done electronically so nobody has to touch anything. You step up to the table, you're handed your paper ballot and a pen. Then you go over and we have privacy booths for you to fill out your ballot. You carry your own ballot over to a scanner, you feed it in yourself. Once it's done, you're out of there. And so we serpentine you back out the building. We have two lines in order to try and get as many people under the roof of the stadium as possible. I have no idea what's going to show up on Election Day, but I very much hope it's not very many people, because if it is, you're going to have a bad day. And all we're doing is exposing each other to this silly virus. Not okay. Don't want to do it.
I know it's early, but as of now, what are you anticipating voter turnout?
The question is, what do I estimate for voter turnout? Your guess is as good as mine. I would say that at the current trends, we're probably going to run up to about 100,000 ballots. That's what I think is going to happen. I've planned for capacity to do about 120. If we vote more than that, you hear the clerk go glub glub, but we'll get through it.
And how does that compare with normal?
Well, we're already, like I said earlier, we're already 7,000 votes ahead of the turnout from 4 years ago. So if we do 100,000, that's very good,
Okay.
very good for us. Still well shy of 90% or something that we should be doing, but better than usual. I think it's clear, Mayor, that everybody's liking this vote by mail thing.
I do.
It makes perfect sense under the circumstances. Yeah. Great question. So our friends in Colorado that have done this for about 10 to 12 years now warned us that we will see anywhere from 25 to 40% of the ballots come back the final week. That's a lot of ballots. Our processing capacity is able to do it in the time frame between Election Day and June the 30th, which is the required finish date, but we're not going to be able to do it on Election Day. In fact, many of the ballots will come in the next day and the day after and so forth, and we can accept them all the way through the 27th, as long as they're postmarked by June 23rd. So because we will only have partial results on Election Day, even if we tabulate them, I don't want to do that. I think it would be very misleading to the public to release results like on a daily basis. It might be exciting and fun, but I also think it's very misleading. So what we're going to do in Fayette County, can't speak for other counties, is wait until the 30th when we have everything done, including what's going on behind me. We will officially open a County Board of Elections meeting at 9 o'clock on that Tuesday, the 30th. Run all the there's little memory cards in the scanners and so forth that actually have the counted ballots. We'll run those through our tally program, and then we'll produce our results, fill out our official forms to the state, and that's the day you'll find out at least what Fayette County did. I'd be willing to bet you just about every other county will be very, very similar to that.
So can you talk about whether candidates are aware? Have candidates been notified that we may not know the results for a week?
No, I have not personally reached out to any candidates to let them know what's going on. Up until about a week ago, the Secretary of State was advocating that we might be able to get the results on election night. He since been educated on the challenge that's going to happen. So I think everybody's now moving their minds to June the 30th, because in the final form that we have to submit, the actual certification of our results, that's what's due on the 30th, and that's the official count, no matter which way you look at it. So yeah, it's going to be a different time.
We're going to rely on these folks to let the candidates know.
That's what you guys are doing. You have one, Karen? I thought you said something. Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, so the question is, what about security of the ballots as they go through the process? So once the ballots arrive at the office downtown, we don't open them. We start sorting them immediately. In the background here, let's see.
Over there. Oh, there.
You can maybe see these gray boxes over here that have blue things on top of them. We use those boxes to once the ballots are sorted at the office, they're placed, counted very carefully, placed in one of those gray boxes. Seals are attached with numbers on them. What's called a transmittal sheet is placed in the bucket as well as on top and taped. So it's sealed shut with a known number of ballots, so typically 500 as a matter of fact. Those are then locked away at the office until the next morning, where they're brought here, and they stay sealed until this team is ready to open one to process it. Once ballots are opened and counted, the actual ballots themselves are going to remain in the secured tubs beneath the scanners you can see here. These white objects on top are the scanners, and the black box beneath them is a ballot tub. Those are also sealed. If you look carefully, you can see the blue seals sticking out from the bottom of them. So at no time is a ballot left out. It is always inside something sealed and locked. Great question. Thank you.
You might mention that the sheriff's office is present. Kind of,
Oh, sure.
Are they overlooked?
That's a great point. The mayor reminds me that we have a sheriff's deputy out at this facility constantly to provide security just in case we have some sort of issue. We've had a few of the campaigns provide observers to keep an eye on what's going on here, which is just fine. As you know, we're also live streaming this process. My friend Brad over here is doing it. So I think we're being very open and transparent.
Great. Any other questions?
Mayor, unrelated question.
Yes.
I don't know if everyone wanted to clear out or anything, but just in relation to the committee that you're forming.
Oh.
The answer to the changes, sorry, I know completely unrelated. Just about where you are in that process.
I'm getting ready to appoint co-chairs.
Not ready to list any names yet.
Not quite yet. We're moving as fast as we can on this. The question was about the commission I'm standing up for racial equality and unity, and we're getting very close.
And now they'll be in charge of, the demands that need to be formed, kind of answering those, having contact with the protesters.
The purpose of this commission will be, first, to listen to the community, second, to have some town hall meetings. There are a lot of people out there with ideas. And then the subgroups of the commission will attend to different pieces of this whole thing. For example, one will be economic and education. You know, it's going to be broken down kind of like that. There will be a subcommittee that is focused on justice issues and that sort of thing. So we'll be ready to make an announcement fairly soon.
And now as far as the collective bargaining agreement, that's all kind of private, right? Those negotiations, that's not going to be made public. Does the council vote on that?
So as far as collective bargaining, the process is a process between the union representatives and the administration representatives, and it is a private process. It cannot be done in public. And so if folks have concerns about issues they want discussed, they can either tell union representatives or administration representatives. and then they can be discussed in negotiations. Negotiations mainly are about work conditions, and although this current police bargaining contract, we have 6 different contracts in the city that are bargained for. This particular one that expires June 30th will just continue on until the new agreement is finished.
Is that delayed probably because of COVID-19?
Maybe a little bit, yes. Yes, and one of the issues that we've realized is that it is not a good thing to have 6 of them do the same year. So I'm not sure how that happened, but anyway, yes, and then it has to be ratified, but the council is not involved in the actual negotiations. So,
Weeks, months before we see kind of.
yep. Yeah, and that's normal. All right. Any more election questions? Thank you all very much.